Yeah, I completely didn't realize my fucking mic was off just now, but okay, it should be good now. But yes, Bloodborne I do think would be have its DLC on sale literally within like the next month or two cuz it goes on sale that often just knowing the PlayStation Store. But anyway, let's get back to my main point. So, my theory is that as I just said, uh they just released Rise for PlayStation, Xbox, and all these other consoles that didn't even have the game for like 2 years straight. So they're just now giving it to all these other consoles to be the release for like the first half of the year, basically. So they have no new game right now, and so they're basically re-releasing a game that's already been out, but to more people, and they could sell that, and then they could sell the expansion for like the second half of the year. And that's sort of gonna be the way how they'll like still get like merchandise and sales for Monster Hunter this year, despite the fact that I do think Sunbreak's lifespan is gonna end in Title Update 5. So my reason why I believe all this is because the pipeline is gonna go Title Update 5, assuming it's Amatsu and that's the final update. Uh, Rise Sunbreak will come out for Xbox and PlayStation, probably either right after that or at some point like in the summer. And then E3 specifically will be the first time or the first shot we have at a Monster Hunter 6 announcement. I think it is possible. You could call that cope. Maybe it is cope, but I do think E3 that's a very like that's finna be like their best shot I think to announce that because the only other big game show that I feel is worthy of announcing that Monster Hunter 6 is coming out is like maybe the Game Awards and that's not until fucking December. So I don't know. Part of me believes that uh Monster Hunter 6, which basically is just a world sequel, at least that's what I'm assuming it's going to be. It is going to be coming out in 2024 because 2024 is the Monster Hunter 20th anniversary. And if it makes too much sense that they're doing what they're doing right now because they have nothing to release this year. They literally have nothing because they are busy working on Monster Hunter 6. And they will announce that it is in development or that it's like or if we get really lucky, maybe we do get a fucking trailer. Maybe we get a whole like reveal trailer and they show gameplay and everything during E3. But that is the absolute earliest I think we'll get info about it. Cuz bare minimum, I still don't even think even if it does come out in 2024 like I believe it will, I honestly don't see it coming out until like the latter half of 2024, not the first half. Just because game development takes a long ass time, like that's just something most niggas don't think about. Game development takes a really long time. So unless they reuse some assets to help them, maybe it'll come out sooner rather than later. But my current guess is it'll be in the latter half of 2024. So basically between summer, fall, and winter of 2024. Not winter. Fucking just summer and fall. I forgot winter is like usually January now, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. Uh but yes, I do think the final 2 quarters of 2024 will be when Monster Hunter 6 comes out. So the pipeline will be they either announce it at E3 of this year or it gets revealed at Tokyo Game Show. Tokyo Game Show is basically Japanese E3, I guess. Uh but the thing is with World, they clearly wanted to market Monster Hunter World towards the Western audience and not really make it like a super Japanese thing. So they would want more eyes on it. And E3 makes way more sense than Tokyo Game Show for that reason. If they want it to be like a worldwide, like big thing, E3 makes more sense to reveal the game. And then Tokyo Game Show could be where they give us more information. I think that makes the most sense. So we get like a teaser trailer or like an announcement trailer, something of the sort at E3, just proving that it exists and that it's coming. Then at Tokyo Game Show, we get like more information, maybe some more gameplay, maybe a monster or two revealed. Hopefully, we get all newcomers again because I think Rise has shown me that there's definitely a issue Monster Hunter has with bringing back the same niggas 7 times in a row. So I'm praying to God that like we just get a completely new roster for Monster Hunter 6. Which to be fair, they did do that twice so far. They did that with Monster Hunter Tri, which was the first game in the third generation, and then they also did it with Monster Hunter World, like the base game of Monster Hunter World. That shit had, I think, almost completely newcomers except for the Rathians. So like Rathalos, Rathian, Pink Rathian, uh, oh, and of course like the typical Elder Dragons that like get brought back every fucking game. So Kushala, Teostra. Praying to God they don't come back. Like I really hope they don't. Nobody likes them. Literally, Chameleos is the only one that's good in that trio, and I mean he got brought back in a midder game, so hell. So honestly, I think that my hopes for Monster Hunter 6 is that it will come out in 2024, probably in the latter half, and then uh it'll be like the 20th anniversary game. Now, see, the problem here is that what I just said, right? That I hope it's all newcomers since it's the start of the new generation. Part of me is like, damn. I mean, if it's gonna be an anniversary game, they kind of have to put all the fan favorites in because that's literally what they did with Monster Hunter Generations, and they had only like maybe 4 or 5 new monsters, and everything else was just like greatest hits of the series, monster wise. You had all the like flagships and shit. You had Zenogre, Gormagala, Rathalos, Rathian, Legia
What is
Chris. All these niggas from all the previous games that were flagships were all in that game. So, bare minimum, I do think Legia Chris has a good shot of coming back. And I definitely do think if any flagship deserves to like come back for our anniversary game, it's clearly Legia Chris. And hopefully
what
they get
is
underwater combat to work so his fight is actually god tier again.
what is under
I'm gonna ban you.
What though?
okay.
But yes, Legia Chris was in Monster Hunter Tri and basically the entirety of the third generation. The third generation of Monster Hunter had underwater combat, which they got rid of that after the third generation. And Legia Chris has suffered because of that because he was designed to be a fight that was half on land and half underwater. And so, ever since the third generation, they kind of like have never been able to really bring him back in full force because he doesn't have underwater combat. Like he literally fights the best underwater, and they basically have been refusing to bring him back because his skeleton just fucks up like in the game. Like the programming of his skeleton does not work, and
Oh,
they honestly either need to just bring back underwater combat or they have to completely like remake him from the ground up, which I'm assuming they don't want to do, which is why every game since fucking like Gen 4 they've been saying, "Oh yeah, the skeleton doesn't work." Well, maybe not since Gen 4, but since the beginning of Gen 5, because people wanted Legiacris in Monster Hunter World. There's literally footage of his model in Monster Hunter World, unironically, like in a beta, like beta test footage or some shit. He literally was in the game, and they took him out because his skeleton just kept fucking up. So, literally, if any of these flagships deserve to come back in Monster Hunter 6, the only one that honestly really needs to show up is Legiacris. Literally, fuck everybody else. Fuck Zenogre, fuck Nargacuga, fuck Tigrex, Brachydios, all these niggas. All they need to bring back is Legiacris, flagship wise. And then have the entire rest of the roster be brand new. That is exactly what we need. So we spice up the game state and have all the locales be brand new places like World as well.
Yeah,
What's
that'll work.
what was cool about World was that we had like some environments that could make sense in the physical world, and then there were some that were kind of fantasy like the Coral Highlands and shit, and the Rotten Vale. I think they could lean a bit more into that and maybe make more like fictional habitats for monsters, because there's a channel I watch called the Unnatural History Channel that just makes like Monster Hunter videos about like how to apply real life science and like animal knowledge to explain Monster Hunter monsters. And one of his biggest gripes is that like when they make new monsters that fit the same niches as monsters that already exist, the clear way to like make sure that it's not like redundant is just have them live in a different habitat. However, in the past games, a lot of the environments would just be reused and they wouldn't make new maps. So it would kind of make no sense for new creatures to suddenly be taking the niches of animals that already live in some of these locations. So that's kind of where making new maps becomes very important. Like, yes, it's still a video game, so like it's not really that big a deal, but like in universe wise, they seem to care a lot about having the like actual nature and science of the monsters still intact. So they need to start making just more maps for more animals to inhabit. That's the easiest way they could add in all these newcomers and not have them like conflict with already established monsters. Iceborne kind of fucked this up lore wise because I don't think you paid attention to Iceborne's story at all, but in Iceborne, when all the like past flagships came back for the DLC, basically they explained that like, oh yeah, this is the new world, aka like a new like piece of land that has never been discovered yet in the Monster Hunter universe. Uh, their explanation was that like, oh yeah, creatures from the old world maybe must have migrated here or some shit. And that was to explain how like Brachydios and Tigrex and Glavenus and all these other niggas got here. Even though I guess logically speaking that doesn't really make too much sense, because I mean, I guess it could have been like a Pangea situation where like all these species lived in one spot and then like a supercontinent broke into pieces, and that's why there's a new world and an old world. I forgot if they explained if that
Never
happened or
mind.
not. But case in point, I'm kind of getting too much into lore right now, but that is what I think the thought process of Konami is right now. And not Konami, Capcom. That is what I think Capcom is on right now for Monster Hunter and what their plans are basically until Monster Hunter 6 comes out in 2024, which is going to be my GOAT year because that is going to be my game of the year, honestly. I'm not even going to ask what that was.